Story tonight, at least 5 students suspended in DeKalb County during today's National Student Walkout. Today, millions of students across the country and here in Metro Atlanta used their voices and feet to demand safer schools in the wake of last month's massacre in Parkland, Florida. 17 people were killed at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School exactly 1 month ago today. And now it's the young people who are refusing to sit on the sidelines in fear, walking out of classes in protest. Faith Abube joins us from Tucker High School, where 5 students are now suspended for today's act of civil disobedience. And Faith, they're punished even though the district allowed them to be part of this national walkout?
That's right, Vinny. School officials tell me that these 5 students took the protest a step further and broke the rules by, quote, interrupting the instructional environment.
I'm very proud of it.
It's not the kind of form students proudly take home to their parents.
This is going on my wall.
But today, these 5 Tucker High School students proudly waved their out-of-school suspension forms as an extension of the very act that landed them in trouble in the first place.
It wasn't just to get out of class or just to, not abide by school rules. It was to actually make a difference and do what we wanted to do, which was protest against gun violence.
Wednesday morning, after a school-approved 17-minute walkout against gun violence, these DeKalb County students decided 17 minutes was not enough.
It wasn't enough because 17 minutes can't justify how important it is to be protected at school and for all the people who lost their lives.
Kids are still losing their lives.
So for 6 hours in the middle of the school day, they sat in the school hallway, an act of honor, they say, for the 17 lives lost in the Parkland school shooting massacre.
A day of suspension out of school versus all the kids' lives that have been lost from gun violence. And so we all thought it was 100% worth it.
I was just like, whatever, I decided that this movement is more important than me getting in trouble.
And so did their parents.
I'm proud of the students for standing up for what they believe in.
Us as parents, we're nervous every day. Our kids are going to school. We don't know if it's the last time we're going to see them. I support her 100%.
What a lot of people couldn't do or don't want to do or are too afraid to do, and we're using our voice and we're trying to be heard.
And the students tell me this is just the beginning. They plan to use part of their one-day suspension of writing letters to lawmakers and also researching ways they can amplify their voices, Vinny.
Thanks so much, Faith. Last night we told you we'd keep an eye on our 4 local school districts that threaten students with punishment if they walked out of class. And Ryan Kruger joins us now with some details. Ryan, despite the threats, we saw some of the biggest protests in those counties.
Yeah, that's right, Vinny. And on their way out the door, students are telling me they were met by administrators strongly hinting they will be facing repercussions. But tonight, it's not clear what those repercussions are going to be.
It was kind of awkward because people didn't really know what to expect.
High school students in Cobb County describe an unusual scene as they walked out in front of school administrators, fully knowing they will be facing some sort of punishment.
Principal did come on the intercom and said that there will be punishments, there will be consequences.
We reached out to every major school district in the area, and these 4 districts, Cobb, Gwinnett, Bartow, and Fayette, told us that walkouts would be considered unexcused absences. We even received reports of school officials blocking the doors at some schools in those counties. However, school officials are telling us that's not true. They do admit that school administrators were telling kids not to go outside as the school districts didn't condone the walkouts. Over at Bartow and Fayette counties, I'm told there were no suspensions and that alternative protests were offered. Like at this Bartow County school, students signed these letters honoring the 17 people killed in the Parkland shooting. And school administrators were also hinting at these students that these kind of walkouts might impact their future education, i.e. if they have any of these flags on their grades as they go to college. But again, we've been reaching out to school officials. They've been very vague about what kinds of punishments might be handed down. Vinny?
All right, thanks so much, Ryan. Millions of people are still talking about the national walkout tonight on Facebook, Twitter, and other social media sites. We've posted a gallery of Georgia students taking part. It's all on 11alive.com. And we're going to stay on top of the story as students, teachers, and allies prepare for next weekend's March for Our Lives in Washington, D.C. All the walkouts dominated social media today, but on our 11 Alive Facebook page, a lot of you are also reacting to new details and the murder of Augusta teen Janelle Carwell. Ron Jones has more on that story in tonight's Speed Feed. And Ron, Carwell's parents now formally charged with her murder.
Yeah, this is a horrible situation here, Vinny. According to the indictment obtained by 11 Alive News, Janelle Carwell was tied up when she was murdered allegedly at the hands of her stepfather, Leon Tripp. Her mom, Tanya Tripp, also charged with second-degree murder for concealing her daughter's death. The parents are accused of burying Carwell and lying to investigators about it. Her body was found last week in a shallow grave almost a year after she disappeared. The execution of the so-called Columbus Stocking Strangler is still set for tomorrow night. Today, Georgia's parole board denied clemency for Carlton Gary. Carlton Gary was convicted of raping and killing 3 women in Columbus in 1977. He still maintains his innocence. 11 Alive spoke exclusively with Gary and his wife tonight. And just hours before he is scheduled to die by lethal injection, you can hear that entire interview tomorrow morning on 11alive.com. Be sure to download the 11 Alive News app and get notified as soon as possible.
While talking about Ms. MacGyver's finances, was Ms. Calhoun's name brought up?
Yes. It was a couple of days before her memorial service, which was the end of October. All he said was he didn't think she was happy with her husband, who was Les, and that maybe he could get her back.
Maybe he could get who back?
Janie.
Huge moment inside the courtroom today. Tex MacGyver shot and killed his wife. He says it was an accident, but a week before his wife's memorial, he was talking about pursuing his dead wife's friend who he dated back in the 90s. That was just one of several big moments today. Earlier tonight, sat down with my legal dream team, Prosecutor LaTonya Hines and Defense Attorney Darrell Cohen, to get some perspective on what happened in court.
She was distraught, is what I saw. He was red-faced, with a stern look on him. I've just not seen too many people that look like that.
Is this evidence that there were problems in this marriage?
Yes, without a doubt.
Show me a couple that's been together for more than a week. I'll show you a couple that's had an argument.
Tex is already talking about selling the condo.
Tex had asked us what we thought it would cost to put that condo back as a condo if he wanted to put them on the market.
And this was less than 24 hours after Ms. MacGyver.
It was either, I went Monday night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday night. It was one of those 3 nights.
Is Tex obsessed with money?
He may be obsessed with what he has to do with the money that he hopes he will get.
I think that's the motive for this whole entire case.
The loan was for $350,000.
Tex owed Diane $350,000 from that loan, never paid it off.
And you said that loan was renewed?
It was renewed.
Is that the motive?
No, it is not. He had to pay interest. He paid interest. She forgave the rest of it in effect.
If you give money to a family member, don't expect to get it back.
He thought she had more money than what she had. He was surprised at the number that was in her checking accounts.
There was only about $400,000 in her accounts.
The fact that she may or may not have had as much as he thought, so what?
Well, it happens a lot of times. People go and rob people and they think they have more money than what they have.
The sign outside the ranch, "We don't dial 911." Which is worse, that sign or his first name, Tex?
Hey, his first name could be Rambo. Tex is worse.
Don't dial 911 on your ranch. Not good, but Tex makes me think of a cowboy.
While talking about Ms. MacGyver's finances, was Ms. Calhoun's name brought up?
Yes. It was a couple of days before her memorial service, which was the end of October. All he said was he didn't think she was happy with her husband, who was Les, and that maybe he could get her back.
Maybe he could get who back?
Janie.
Does this show Tex's true feelings about Diane?
The eyes of Texas were upon her.
Yes, it's one more thing to show you that he didn't necessarily want to be with Diane, but he did want her money.
Who had the better day today, prosecution or defense?
Prosecution all day long, because they keep getting their story out there about the money, the need for the money, the fact that Tex, whether or not the defense wants you to know it or not, is angry.
Defense, because the defense did not have to cross-examine the witnesses to realize so many of them were not credible. And quite frankly, the state has started their case with a dud.
You can watch each day's testimony in the Tex MacGyver trial streaming live on 11alive.com and on our 11 Alive Facebook page. And you can join me, my legal dream team, on Facebook Live at 7:30 each day. You are the 13th juror. Court is in session. We'll answer your questions and take a look at your take on the case. And new tonight, 2 sketches, One criminal? We're breaking down brand new information in the hunt for a serial sexual predator who was posing as a police officer.
Another night, another freeze warning. If you're tired of this cold weather, I've got some good news for you. As the cold air is retreating, the warm weather returning. But will it mix in with rain heading into the weekend? We'll break down the timeline for you.